morning everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Brianna and today I am in probably the best mood that I have been in the last 2 months of my life. And I'm not saying that in like a crazy bad way or crazy good way. It's just that like the sun is shining, there's not a cloud in the sky. I'm in Florida, I'm sitting outside recording today, and I've got my delicious iced coffee. I'm so excited to chat with all of you. And I'm just feeling really good and really happy and just in a great mood. I feel like my skin's getting a little bit of color. I always feel the best when I'm tan. I know this sounds like, comment down below if you're the same way, but I always feel so much more confident when I'm tan. My skin always gets pretty dark, but my face normally doesn't, and I feel like my face has got some nice color today. My skin is skinning, like this is nothing on my skin. So I'm just feeling really happy today, and I hope that my happiness and enthusiasm translates to you and you have a wonderful day, and that you also enjoy this little palm tree back here. But we are getting into our monthly coffee chat, which let me tell you, this is probably a video that I look forward to the most. Last month I got so much positive feedback on the monthly coffee chat that it just made me so excited to dive in and do another one. So if you're new, our monthly coffee chats around here are where I put up a question box on my Instagram and I ask you what you want us to chat about today. Do you have any questions for me? Do you want me to give any updates? Like, really, what are you curious about? Like, what do we want to chat through? So we've got a lot of questions to go through today, but I did end up categorizing them. So we have some Disney questions, lots of wedding questions, finance questions, goals questions, what I do for work questions, some overall Florida questions. Like I said, I'm in Florida. Also, you're gonna hear some birds, and that's okay because I was just so excited to film outside today that I'm sorry, but the birds, ooh, little flyaway, the birds are coming in hot today, and that's okay. We like a bird. Well, actually, no, I hate birds. I do, I hate them. They're one of my biggest deadly fears, but we like the chirping, and I'm in a screened in porch, so I'm feeling good. I don't feel scared of them. But so those are gonna be some of our monthly coffee chat questions that we have going on today. And then there's also a few just like randoms. We are also gonna be trying out just a few new products. I just got this new makeup bag in from Amazon. It is a Jessica Braun find. She is the one that found it. It is a black leather bag. I ended up having it delivered to my dad's. The reason I love it is I'll open it up on camera so that you can see. When you open it, it opens up flat. OMG. Like, the minute that she posted about this, I was like, yeah, I need to have that, because there is nothing more annoying than trying to dig through your makeup bag and not being able to see everything. So we are gonna get into it, and let's start this month's coffee chat. I will have all the products that I use linked down below today, but we are gonna start with the Sun Touchable Whoa Glow from e.l.f., the e.l.f. Skin. I used this in my coffee chat last month, and oh, have I been using it so much since. It's really like, I think, and I also have my mirror down here, so that's why I'm looking over here, but this is truly like one of my all-time favorite products ever. I like it way better than Glow Screen. I got a lot of questions too on like just Instagram and from my friends in general, so I thought I would share. Why do I like this better than I like Glow Screen? And I'll tell you, Glow Screen really burns my eyes, and I know that that sounds so, look at my lips like I look like the Tin Man. When I've used Glow Screen, it has burned my eyes after about like 4 hours in the day, especially when I wear mascara, which I'm definitely like not into having burning eyes. So I like this so much more, and I also feel like it gives my skin a little bit of coverage. It is making me look a little Tin Man-y because it's just like, I mean, it's glowy and you just move it in. So here is the Sun Touchable Whoa Glow. I really like this. I always just kind of go in with my damp beauty sponge over it because I like for it to absorb any product that's just kind of like sitting on the skin. Today is going to be super light glam. We're really just going to be hanging out and chatting. The reason being is I am going to end up washing it off later to go to the pool, but I was really excited to get a little bit of summer glam with all of you and just kind of hang out. So let's start out with the first question, but before we do so, I'm gonna go in with the Kosas Revealer Concealer. It is just gonna be a lightweight concealer day, which is always very nice and refreshing. So the first question that we are gonna start with today is update on living with your parents. So for those of you that are new, Corey is my fiance. Corey and I ended up just leaving Boston. We lived in Boston, Massachusetts for about 4.5 years, and we just ended up moving back in with my mom. And the reason that we did that was we wanted to save a ton of money. Boston ended up getting just really ridiculously expensive, and it just like, honestly is not worth the price anymore, and I could be fully remote. So I am now fully remote employee, which I absolutely love. I've always loved really working from home. And so what we ended up doing was moving in with my mom, who lives in Connecticut. And this is actually, we're gonna make this a little bit of a two-part question. So we'll start out with, how has it been living with my mom? It's been really good. Of course it's an adjustment, right? I think that no matter what, my mom is my best friend and I love her to eons and to pieces, but of course everything is adjustment, right? Like my mom ends up taking my nephew a few days a week, and Corey and I are now, you know, not in our own 100% space, and that's okay. We knew that going into it when we first were gonna decide to move in with her, and we're just really grateful that my parents are giving us the opportunity even just to be able to do that, right? Like even be able to move in and not have to pay any rent. It's been a dream. It's been really, really amazing, and I'm just really happy with the fact that my parents have allowed us to do that, right? Like you don't get the ability to do that and save all this money, so that's why we decided to move in with my parents. And then for my second part of this question, I got a few questions on, did I miss why your dad is in Florida and mom is in Connecticut? So for those of you that don't know, I'm in Florida right now, and we always visit my dad for about 6 weeks from like February to the beginning of April in Florida. The reason why my dad lives in Florida and my mom lives in Connecticut is because my dad worked for the state for 25 years, and once he got his pension, they were going to tax his pension. So instead of him staying in Connecticut and finding maybe a different job, still creating another pension but having it taxed, he decided, hey, I'm gonna move to Florida for the next like 5 to 15 years. That's a really drastic time frame. He was definitely saying 10 to 15 years, but he's gonna move down here and have his untaxed pension, like because Florida has no state income tax. So my dad does visit a ton in Connecticut. Corey and I obviously love to come to Florida. We would love to live here, and so that's why my parents are currently not living like under the same roof, but my dad visits. My mom hates to fly, so we always come to Florida, but that's why my parents are still married. They're still madly in love. They've been together for 28 years, 28 years. Let's stay on the Florida train for a little bit. So I got things I like to do, places I like to go, places I like to eat when I come down to my dad's in Florida. I think we're still getting a little bit acclimated with that. I'll just give a quick few. Before I do that, let's go in with, I think I'm kind of good with this. I'll do a little bit of pressed powder just because obviously, you know, summer sun. So I'm gonna go in with the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder on a little powder puff. I am obsessed with the powder puff. Let me tell you, it's the new thing. Things that we like to do. We definitely like to go to this little taco place around here. It's called Tijuana Flats. It is very much like fast casual, I like to say. It's nothing, you know, drastic or, you know, the most like upscale restaurant, but Corey and I like that kind of stuff. We really like very casual, enjoyable like experience. Look at the translucent powder and the difference. Like it's just, it's beautiful. So we really like to go to Tijuana Flats. That's a restaurant around here, and we just like to go, especially on Taco Tuesday, but everyone knows that me and Corey are taco lovers, so we definitely enjoy doing that. We also really like to try to go to the beach at sunrise or sunset at least once while we're down here. It's definitely not an all the time every weekend activity. I mean, it's really, we haven't even done it once since being down here just yet, but we do really love to do that. And then, I mean, of course, right, like every year since, I mean, I can't say every year, but for the last, this now will be our second year, I really do love taking my dad to Disney. Last year was a little bit of a challenge. Like, I love you, Dad, but you know, my dad is somebody who is Mr. Knowledge, like Mr. History professor, has a degree in history, and like wants to know everything and always thinks that he knows everything. So he hadn't been in like 12 or 14 years, and literally not one thing is the same anymore. And I'm like, Dad, everything's different. So last year was like a little bit of a struggle in a good, I mean, it wasn't awful, but it was just, you know, we were learning, everyone was learning. That was still really nice to take him. So of course we love to take my dad to Disney. We actually leave for Disney in a few days, so that's really exciting. We'll talk about Disney in this as well. Next, let's do a little bit on work and job. I got a few questions on specifically what I do for my job. Before we do that, we're gonna go in with the Dibs Duo. I think I'm gonna try, I've never tried the 5.5 bronzer. It definitely is dark, like darker for me, but it will be a summer shade. So why don't we just, we're gonna give that a whirl today. We're gonna try that. So the question I got was, do you love your 9 to 5? What is your line of work? I've been looking for a career shift. So I love my 9 to 5 literally more than life itself. I don't envision or ever really see myself leaving my 9 to 5, to be quite honest. It is an amazing job. So to answer your first part of your question, yes, I love my 9 to 5. I love it so much. I love the people that I work with. This bronzer is definitely a little dark for me and a little orange right now, but we'll blend it and we'll make it work. So yes, I absolutely love my 9 to 5. It is amazing. I have been at my 9 to 5 ever since I started. I've never had another job in corporate America. So I have been working for the same company for, it'll be 5 years this June. And the line of work that I'm in, so I'm in the travel industry, and I absolutely love being in the travel industry. So I used to be a tour consultant. So I used to work with teachers and help them plan trips abroad for their students. Now I am a sales trainer. So now I work with those tour consultants that are on our, you know, sales floor or in the sales division, and I help them sell better, right? Consult on tours better. You know, maybe it's sometimes making sure that we're delivering flights the right way or doing things in a really, you know, calm and nice manner. So I love sales training. I love coaching and developing. I do a lot of call coaching as well. So like listening back to calls and saying like, great, how could we have made this sound a little bit smoother? How could we have made the customer feel a little bit more supported in this area? And I love literally nothing more than just like working with wonderful people on my team. I feel like everyone always gives 110% and really respects me in my role. So I think that's number one, like one of the reasons I love my role too. I think it's just like everyone's really amazing. So I work in the travel industry. I'm a sales trainer. I love it. I am going to keep the like company that I'm talking about private because I want to keep that private into myself, but I love the travel industry and I've been in it for almost 5 years now, and I think it's great. And I worked through it through COVID. So it's been great. Next, I got a few questions. We'll answer these next two really fast, but I have eczema really bad, especially on my face, and was wondering what you use. So I have eczema as well. If you can see, like slight discoloration right here and slight discoloration like up and through here on my arm. I also have it up here on my eye, and like this little red splotch on my neck as well is eczema. I really use a lot of light, non-fragrant, sometimes even cream products and some powder, but I would probably say I've been leaning a little bit more towards cream, and I really try not to use makeup more than twice a week on my face. I don't really ever wear it when I vlog anymore. I've just found not to. But if you were talking a little bit more medicine wise, always speak to your doctor. I'm in no way, shape, or form a dermatologist or a doctor, but the cream that I use is called Desinide, I believe it is, and it's like a cream base, and I also have eczema on my hand, so I put it in those spots for about like 7 to 10 days, and normally a flare-up will go away. I'm not very consistent with it though, so I can't say that I'm, you know, a whiz with it. Next, I got a question on best advice you've given and received in the last month. So I would say we'll start with the best advice I've given, but as we do that, I'm going in with the Dibs Beauty 5.5 blush in the shade Wine Not. It is this beautiful purple. I absolutely love this color. So we're gonna go with the best advice that I have given this month. And I would say the best advice that I've given this month was probably to a friend of mine who felt like in her role that she was just like not being, you know, listened to, or like not advocating enough for herself. And the advice that I'd given was like, no one is going to advocate for you other than you. Period. Like, no one is going to stand up for you the way that you're going to stand up for you. And I think for me, you know, something that was instilled in me really young from my mom and my dad was like, stand up for yourself, fight for what you believe in, and if you don't believe in it, then that's fine. You know, you don't really, you know, you don't need to care then. If you don't believe in it as much, then don't put all of your time and energy and effort into something, and then just, you know, go with the flow. But if you believe in something strong enough, then you need to fight for it and believe in it. So I had a friend that I kind of gave that advice to. I'm like, listen, no one is gonna stand up for you the way that you're gonna stand up for you. So you need to buckle down, get it together, and like stand up for yourself, and like share with, you know, whoever you're communicating with and who you're talking to, why something like this is important to you, or why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, because no one is going to advocate for you. It's just not, it's never going to be the case. And, you know, it sometimes is a little bit of tough love, but this is one of my best friends, and I felt like it was something that, you know, she really thanked me for later on for, you know, pushing her to do that, and she ended up doing it, so happy about that. And then for best advice I've received in the last month, I would probably say maybe all things are temporary. I know I talked about that, you know, more recently in another vlog, and feeling as I was transitioning into my moms and everything that, you know, I felt like I was struggling in the beginning, or, you know, I get struggle in these areas, but I feel like the best advice I've received is like, this too shall pass, right? Or it's just a moment in your life where maybe you're not feeling 110%, or you're not feeling, you know, supported, you're not feeling beautiful that day, you're not feeling excited about what you're having for dinner, you're not feeling excited about the fact that you got in the shower and now you have to get out because you have to get your body washed. Like, I just feel like this too shall pass as a piece of advice I've gotten this month, because I am someone who can be super regimented and like really structured, and I feel like that's something that has really kind of helped me in the last month. It's just like, this too shall pass. It's a phase. Don't worry about it. So let's get into some exciting stuff for me, at least. Let's talk about some wedding questions. So I got a lot of questions on wedding. So will you do anything that's not common at your wedding? Yes, our whole wedding is like literally uncommon, like to the max. We are having a wedding of only 50 people. We are getting married in a really, really small boutique winery. And I think that the reason we decided to do just like a really small intimate ceremony was we almost like wanted to elope for a little while. Like I mentioned in my last video, like wedding planning has just been really challenging, and it's so financially debilitating if you feel like you don't see a lot of value in a big wedding. And listen, let me tell you, I think weddings are beautiful. I think that they're an incredible celebration. It was just not something that Corey and I wanted to prioritize. Corey and I really wanted to prioritize a brand new car. We want to prioritize 2 honeymoons, a mini moon and a big honeymoon. And so for us, the wedding was just not at the top tier. So will I do anything that's not common at your wedding? That's one of them. Is just we're having a little bit of an uncommon all-around wedding. We are doing, of course, you know, a photographer, we're gonna have a videographer, we have a DJ, right? We're doing those things. And I would say the most uncommon thing that we're doing is we're just doing it really small and intimate, and I'm really excited about that. Next wedding question is just, I think, a wedding in general, recently engaged and overwhelmed. Let me tell you, sister, me fucking too. Me fucking too. I was so overwhelmed. I was so unhappy in the wedding process, and my biggest piece of advice that I can give to you when it comes to the wedding planning process is take everything at your own pace. I think that there is no timeline in which you need to get married. Corey and I could have gotten married in 2023. We decided to get married in 2024. I have a friend that got engaged right after me, and she like dove headfirst into the wedding planning process. Like within 3 to 4 weeks, had her venue, had her, you know, hair, makeup, photographer, flowers, videographer, photographer, and I was like, oh, I don't even have a venue. I don't even have a date. I don't even know if I want to do this damn thing. So I think the biggest thing is it's gonna feel overwhelming. It's gonna feel outrageously logistic, and you never know where to start. The first thing that makes everything really easy is pick your wedding date, pick your venue, right? And it took me and Corey 4.5, almost 5 months to pick our venue because we just weren't in a rush. And I think that's okay. Like, you can choose your own wedding timeline. I think society pushes us to say, like, you know, pick your wedding venue 2 weeks after you get engaged because you should have a big wedding and you should do all these things and just didn't care to do that. Corey and I wanted to take it at our own pace, and we're both really happy and like joyful with the way that we're deciding to plan our wedding. And it is, let's see, it is February 26th. We got engaged on October 9th, and we just recently in the last 2 weeks booked our venue, our photographer, and our DJ. Literally all within the last 2 weeks. So we waited October 9th to November, December, January, February. We waited almost 4.5 months to decide on anything for our wedding because we were just enjoying engagement. And I think that's fine, and you can do really anything that like brings your heart joy. So that's what I would say on just feeling overwhelmed wedding wise. Also got a question on dress shopping, and I will not go dress shopping until the summer. And honestly, I don't even know if I'll vlog that. I think I'm gonna keep that as like an internal memory rather than a recorded vlog memory. And then another question was, do we have a wedding budget? Kind of. Corey and I are trying, I think, to figure out a wedding budget. Originally we had one number in mind, then we had another number in mind. We also haven't spoken to like parents about what they think that they might want to contribute, so we're a little bit like figuring out our wedding budget right now. Once we have a little bit more of an idea of like what our wedding budget is, I'll definitely share, but for right now we really don't have too much of a wedding budget. So I've got on my base. That blush is really pretty, and the bronzer is nice. I do think that once I'm a little bit darker in the next few weeks, it will look a little bit better. And now we're just gonna go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel, and we are going to answer a question on how do you and Corey handle finances? Will it change after a marriage? So right now, Corey and I really handle our finances, I would say, pretty well in terms of like who pays for what and how we kind of go about certain things when it comes to finances. Everything we do is pretty much split 50-50, but right now, because we are not paying rent, obviously, we kind of split the bills differently because at the end of the day, everything evens out. Corey and I are at a really beautiful place in our life right now, especially with our jobs that we both make really good money, and I never feel like I need to nickel and dime. When I first started working, I felt that way, and it was something that it took me and Corey a little while to kind of like transition into. But in terms of finances, we have a few bills a month that we pay every month. So I pay my student loan, I pay my credit card bill, Corey has his phone, his student loan, his credit card bill, and then I pay our car insurance, and Corey pays our storage unit. So those kind of equate out. And then really the way that we handle finances when we're, I just spilled it myself again, really how we handle finances when we're in the store, like grocery shopping, shopping for stuff, we kind of just do like every other. So I'll give a really good example of some finances. So we went grocery shopping yesterday on Saturday, and ultimately we decided that at the end of the day, it just didn't make sense for like one person to have to do the Venmoing. We don't really do that anymore. So instead we went to Costco, Trader Joe's, and Walmart. Corey paid for Costco and it was $130. So I was like, great. I went to Walmart, paid $80 at Walmart, and then after $80 at Trader Joe's, and then we went to Walmart and it was $50, so it literally ended up equating out anyway. So we really just do that. Whoever puts the card in at the first store, that might be the bigger store, goes first, and then the other person takes care of the rest. Corey and I are really, this is kind of hard, I feel like, for some finances, especially because we're not renting anymore, but that's really what we've done, and it's always been just like really easy and worked for the two of us. I would say as you get more comfortable with your significant other or your finances, kind of think about like what makes the most sense to you and what like feels good. So the next question is one that I actually really love, and we're gonna just like really get deep and dive and chat into it. So do you feel on time or behind with your life timeline and goals? I feel very much just exactly where I need to be. I feel like, you know, would I have loved to be engaged a year or so sooner? Yes. Would Corey and I have wanted to move to Florida for a few years before we had kids? Yes. Are there things in life that I have not yet done that I don't think I will ever do at this age and stage of my life? Yes. And sometimes I would say I do feel behind more than I feel on time, if that makes sense. I feel just more so like life is just moving in a good trajectory and I am where I am supposed to be rather than feeling on time. But I would say at time I do feel behind. I've always been a planner, and I feel like this is something that Corey has really just been so great with. Like, I am someone that says, okay, we're gonna get married and I'm gonna be 20, how old am I gonna be? I'm gonna be turning 28, which means that in 2 years from that birthday, I'm gonna get off birth control so that we can start planning to have a family. And that means that I'm hopefully gonna be pregnant by 31, which means that I'll push out a baby by 32. And it's like, Corey's like, settle down. Corey's like, settle down. You don't need to have everything planned out to a T. And I almost feel like I'm getting kind of emotional, but I feel like that's something I've always struggled with in my life, is I always try to plan moment to moment, day to day. And being with Corey, he has really taught me to live in the moment. Like, you're in the right place. It is the right time. Go with the flow. Life is going to fall into place exactly when it needs to, in the way that it's supposed to. If it's meant for you, it will be here. If it's not meant for you, it will pass you by. And I feel like that's just something that I've kind of struggled with as I've gotten older, because I'm someone that is extremely impulsive. If you've ever heard of Gallup Strengths Finder, it is something that we use at work where you have like 34 strengths, and my last strength is deliberative. So I just like do things off the cusp. So for example, when I like want to go to Disney or I want to go on a vacation, I book it within 5 minutes. Like, when I'm ready to do something, I immediately jump on it. I don't sit there for 25 minutes and ponder the decision. I just make the plan quickly. And so I think when it comes to my life timeline and my life goals, I feel like I'm just where I need to be. Corey and I are really happy living at my mom's, saving money. We're happy to not be paying rent anymore. Would we love to have a home? Sure, but we got to live in Boston for 4.5 years, and that was a huge part of our life. So long story short, do I feel on time or behind with my life timeline and my goals? I feel just where I'm supposed to be. Sometimes I feel behind because I see, you know, for example, I see friends of mine that are renovating a home or buying a home or, you know, already getting married or doing this, that, and the other thing. And Corey and I are 26 and 27. Corey's gonna be 28 years old in the next month, and we're living with my parents, no home and no bills. So like, I think everyone's got their own thing going on in life, and that's our thing right now, and I feel good about that. And it took me a little while to be okay with that, but I think it's just really being able to talk it out with Corey, and him really kind of talking me off the ledge has been like, it just made me feel a lot better. And I think that without him being able to do that with me, I probably wouldn't feel as good as I feel talking about it now. But, you know, cheers to you, Corey, because I feel like you always just make life feel better holistically. You just make life better, baby. All right, so up next in the monthly coffee chat is we are gonna be trying out a new mascara, and we're gonna be talking about Disney because I got some Disney questions and I'm excited to dive in. So first we're gonna go in with the Lancome, of course, mascara primer, and that's what we are gonna start with. My face is gonna be way down here because I need the mirror, but first is, when are you going back to Disney? And we are actually leaving for Disney. This is funny enough. We leave on Friday. Today is Sunday. Oh my God, am I so excited. I have not had a day off from work since the Christmas time, like since the holidays, and where I'm really blessed to be able to travel a lot for work. So, you know, I went to Denver for a week and I was, you know, it was working, but I obviously wasn't working in an office or doing a lot of structural work. And then I got to go to Madrid, which was work, but still the time change. And when you're doing something like that where you're with 85 adults, you know, day in and day out, it was a lot. So we are going to Disney on Friday to Monday. We're going with my dad, and a little bit of some trip details because I got a lot of questions. But before I do that, I'm going in with the YSL Lash Clash Mascara. I got this with my free points at Sephora. Here's the brush, a little bit more like wide, kind of speckly, so let's go into it. A little bit of our just like Disney in general details for our upcoming trip in March. So you're all the first to know because we were keeping it a secret, but I'll tell you on the coffee chat if you've hung around. Thanks. We are leaving for Disney, like I said, on Friday. We will be there. Wow, these ducks. Anyone else hear the ducks and the birds? We will be leaving on Friday, and we will be leaving, I think the date is March, is it 3rd? Let me check while the ducks are ducking. March 3rd to March 6th, and let me tell you, am I so excited. We are gonna be staying at, drumroll please, Port Orleans French Quarter. So excited. I've heard really wonderful things about that resort. I'm also really happy to, really the ducks. Really with the ducks today. I am really excited to say that I've heard a lot of good things on the boat transportation that they have. I'm really excited to knock another form of Disney transportation off of mine and Corey, and I guess now including my dad's list as well. We've taken the Skyliner, we take the monorail, we take the bus, but we've never taken a boat and or ferry. And the boat goes to Disney Springs from Port Orleans, and I'm excited to stay there. It's a little bit more elevated. I think that my dad is really going to enjoy it as well. And so we leave for Disney this Friday. I'm so excited, and I got a few questions on just like Disney budget in general, so let's kind of talk about that. I think when it comes to Disney budgets, it's all about like what you want to do. So we know that my dad only gets to go to Disney once a year, so when we take my dad, we try to make sure that he can see a lot and do a lot and has a lot of like autonomy over his trip and what he wants to do. So for this one, we ended up going with park hopper passes so that he could feel like he could kind of go to and from and see a lot and do what he wanted to do. So we budgeted for that. We also budgeted for a little bit of a nicer resort. So I think Port Orleans per night was $316 or $310, I think. And that was really nice as well. But it's also being divisible by 3, right? Corey's paying a chunk, I'm paying a chunk, and my dad's paying a chunk. I would say though, for if you want a numerical number budget, we try to keep hotel and park tickets for the 3 nights, 4 days with 2 park tickets. We try to keep everything to about $700 to $800 per person, honestly. And it's worked for us in the past. The last time when we went to Pop Century, we did end up spending a little bit less because Pop Century was not expensive, and we did not, well, it was expensive, but we just didn't have park hoppers, and it wasn't Port Orleans, so it was just less. But this time we ended up going up to like $700 to $800 for our budget, and we stuck to it. Total for park tickets and 3 nights at the hotel, once you added it all together and divided it by 3, it was like $760 a person. So we were right within our budget of what we thought. Once we're in the park this time, we are only doing 2 dining reservations, one on the travel day and then one on the day that we leave. So we're excited about that as well. I think that's gonna be really fun and really nice to be able to have just a few dining reservations. One that we've already done, one that we have not done. My dad didn't want dining reservations in the parks, so we said, totally cool, like we don't need to do that if you don't want to do it. It's up to you. This is like your trip because Corey and I are going back in May again, which we're excited about, and we're keeping that trip a little bit more of a secret because there's some fun big ass things coming in May, so just like stay ready. But quick update on the Lash Clash mascara. I think I really like it. I actually wasn't sure as I was putting it on if I was gonna like it, but comment down below, what do you think? So this is about 2 coats. I could do a third. I can even put my kind of lashes down so you can see, but I really like the way that it looks. I think it looks really pretty. I'm gonna give it just one more coat. For some reason, this eye feels like it just doesn't want to spread as evenly as the other eye. Like this one, I feel like just looks a little bit better, but now it's dry, so it's gonna be a little bit more challenging. But I would say, like, I almost just knocked over the entire mirror, the camera, and the iced coffee. Would have been no bueno. But I really like it. I think it looks really, really nice. Now I just like to go in and kind of like pick up any excess stuff just kind of like on the face. But to go back to Disney a little bit, so yeah, like I mentioned, we are going to Port Orleans French Quarter. We leave on Friday. We go from Friday to Monday. I'm so excited. I haven't had a day off from work in a while, and I'm really excited to spend time with my dad and Corey in Disney, and that's gonna be just really, really amazing and fun. So I would say that's kind of our Disney budget. This time it's just a little bit different than what we've done in the past. Corey and I love to do sit down. My dad's not too big of like a sit down kind of guy, so we decided, like, great, we'll follow your lead. Like, if you're really excited to do something else, let's do that. Corey and I go back to Disney all the time. My dad only gets to go like once a year, so we like to give him a little bit more control. But this is the mascara. I am enjoying it. And then for lips today, we are gonna go in where we've got another e.l.f. find, little drugstore find. I'm trying to get into my drugstore era because, let me tell you, Sephora's getting a little pricey. Inflation's real. And for someone who like loves makeup, and I do love Sephora, I always will, I just want to dabble in some more like drugstore finds. Like the Sun Touchable makes me just want to be a drugstore girly, so we decided to try a drugstore lip. This was in my Target haul from my vlog the other day. I can have it queued up here if you haven't had the chance to watch it, but we are trying the e.l.f. Eau Matte Finish, I think it was called, in the shade Dirty Talk. But before we go in with that, I am going to go in with just a little bit of my gel. Where is it? Actually, no, that's too brown. I'm going to go in with my Sephora lip liner in the shade Mesquite. This might even be, is it too dark? What am I doing here? Oh god, no, that's way too dark. So I'm gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude, I think is my shade here. Yeah, Iconic Nude. Just a little bit of lip liner. Does anyone else feel like they used to watch their mom put on lip liner and do it so beautifully, and then I try to put on lip liner and I feel like I just screw it and fuck it up every single time? Like, I get it, but you know. Then you've got the girlies that are like massively overlining the lip, and like, I got a little upper lip, I got eczema on my mouth. We just doing what we can do. But anyway, little Iconic Nude, and then we are gonna go in, like I said, with the e.l.f. Eau Matte Finish in the shade Dirty Talk. I will have everything I used today linked down below. So let's do a first impression of this lip color. Corey actually picked out this color at Target. I was between this one and another one, and he said that he really enjoyed this like lighter color, so I was like, okay, well, you can pick it then. So I actually kind of like it. I think because the Iconic Nude's a little darker, that's like the new trendy girl, is like the dark lip liner with the lipstick, but I like it. Let's see how it dries down. I'm really excited to see really what comes of it, and this is the full face today. It feels kind of nice to have on like a little bit of glam in the sunshine. I'm feeling good. I would say let's rate the new products that I tried today really quickly. It was only 2. Now, I would love to try some more products, but it's also expensive to try new products. So, you know, today we've got just 2 new ones. Well, technically 3, so let's talk through them. So the first thing was the Dibs in the 5.5. I use Dibs all the time. I would say that this bronzer does look really nice. It's almost kind of like subtle. I would say I need it when I'm a little bit darker. I think it was a little too orangey for me today. So in terms of just like overall product, I will give that like an 8.5, 9 out of 10. I love the way the product applies. I just think I needed like a lighter shade. Next, we went in with the YSL Lash Clash Mascara. I am really loving it. I'm not seeing, I think it was just that one little piece of like fallout so far, but I am really, really enjoying this. So I'm gonna give this like in maybe a 7.5 out of 10. I really, really like that. And then we have the e.l.f. Eau Matte lipstick in the shade Dirty Talk. I'm into the color. I really like it. I'm giving this like a 10 out of 10 for right now. It's really comfortable, really soft on the lips. It's not sticky, which I really like. You know when you have like lipstick on, or lip gloss and lipstick, and it's like it's not like that at all. So I love that. This has been a really fun monthly coffee chat. Thanks for hanging out with me. I feel like I am really excited to keep doing these coffee chats. I've literally sat up here basically half crisscross applesauce, spilling coffee, and you know, just hanging out and chatting. But I love you guys so much. Thanks so much for enjoying this month's coffee chat with me. If you have any other questions that you want me to answer in next month's coffee chat, drop them down below. I feel like this was kind of chaotic but really fun to just kind of chat and hang out. I felt like I was just chatting with a friend, which you're all my friends, so that was really nice. So thank you all so much for watching through to the end. It's so great to hang out. I feel like the coffee chats are slowly becoming like my literal all-time favorite videos to film, because I feel like we just get to hang and chat. And even if you're, you know, watching it and you're sitting with me, or if you're, you know, watching it in the background, using it as almost like a podcast sort of, I enjoy it. I love it. I think it's so fun to just hang and chat and answer questions and just spend a little bit of time together. So I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.